Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Good
Hello.
morning.
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever everybody is.
How's it going?
Everything is going good. I like your glasses, Don. These new?
No, I just wear them when I need to read sometimes.
Oh, looking fresh.
Part of getting older.
Mhm. Awesome. Looking fresh, looking fresh. All right, so let's dive in for today's call. As a lot of you know, just to kind of go over a couple things before we get started. As a repeat, everybody is always going to be at different levels of the program, different weeks, depending on when you started the program. The topics that we discuss will be probably topics that you've already overviewed or you haven't overviewed yet. It doesn't matter. It's great for you to always be on these coaching calls, no matter where you're at in the program. I would encourage you to show up to as many as you can, depending on the times and stuff like that. So you know that they're always here Wednesdays and Thursdays. Wednesdays me, Thursdays the mock date practices and dating practices with Cynthia. We switch it up from 12:30 to 6:30. Okay. The more interactive you are in these group coaching sessions, I think the better. What we've seen is the better results a lot of the men get. And then from there, of course, if you have any tech issues, questions in regards to that, reach out to my assistant Corona. And then if you have anything that you're personally going through, this is what these coaching sessions are for today. We go over topics and then I answer it up to questions depending on how many people are on. The feel of what we need today. Typically, I would get a sense of it. And then also to questions pertaining to homework or bringing up your homework, stuff like this, or coursework, I like to say, because I feel like homework sounds like such a chore. It's not homework. We're starting to rename it coursework. So coursework we're going to talk about. So if you have any coursework you need to bring up, please do so during those calls like I asked for in your course material. You know, like there's something called the not the Wheel of Life, River of Life exercise. When you have that done, if you feel called to, please bring that to the calls, okay? So important for story building and stuff like that, so I can walk you through it. All right, so let's dive in. So what I wanted to actually start with today is a little differently. Typically, we go into our topic and then I start teaching for 15, 30, sometimes turns into 45, depending on how much you guys are taking a grasp to it. But I first wanted to start because a couple of you have messaged me in the DMs about a specific situation that you're going through. And I really wanted to start it with that as well. So I'll start it with one or two because I think there was a couple people that are going through something right now that need my advice or not even advice, but more coaching on. So I'll start with one or two. We'll get into the course topic for today, which the topic today is we already did basic flirting. We're going to go over a little bit of the basic flirting again, which is we already did on one of the calls, the flirting basics, which is week 7. Today, we're going to go over week 8, the advanced flirting and escalation. That's what I have planned for today. So if anybody would like to step up and kind of talk to me about something they need advice on, I'll let you guys go first. I'll just do one or two, and then we'll wrap it up at the end with more coaching.
I'll go.
Thank you, Don.
And so when I go out and meet women and talk to them, I understand where I'm coming from and that, I'm not trying to get into a exclusive relationship, which is still a little foreign to me, but I understand that too, because I guess getting used to talking to women again and finding what I like, and what I had asked you about is, and I asked Cynthia this too, is what do I say? Because I'm not trying to play the field. But you had told me earlier, you replied back that,
I want to know your definition. What is your definition of playing the field first?
oh, like having several women that I'm like talking to or going out with all the time.
And are we
That's
there?
what I feel like it means.
Are we there?
No, I mean, I have been talking to, like this past weekend, I went to the zoo with the.
So the reason why I asked you if we're there, because Dawn, I know you. And
There you
all
go.
we need is to talk to women and get you out, because we're not even there yet.
Yeah.
You love to go, you and who is it? You and Vincent love to go to the future.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys love to go to
Okay.
the future. Stay here, because it's all of these what ifs are going to hold you back from what you're supposed to be doing right now. And remember, the Dawn that we're trying to do, like I already see it in your aura. I don't know, Christopher, if you've seen it, because you've been with him since day one. Like I see such a change in your facial expressions, the way you carry yourself. Like I see it. It's working. It's happening. Christopher's shaking his head yes, because like we've seen you since you guys were both together since day when you both started. And so with you, Dawn, it's literally about just staying in that present moment, just to like meet women, talk to them, see how it flows, right? Because it's not that you're 100% caught off to a relationship with a woman, but the relationship with a woman is going to take time. And the new Dawn is going to take time to get to know her before he jumps into the future with her. So here's where, what is the word that you used again?
Playing the field.
Oh, playing the field. Thank you. Here's where playing the field comes in. Is like, let's say there's Amberly, Amanda, I'm just starting with all A's so I can remember them, and Anne, right? And Amberly, you're kissing and maybe almost being intimate with, and Amber is like texting you, wanting to go on dates with you, and she really likes you, and you've kissed her too. And Anne is talking about a relationship with you. Now you're playing the field and you're not being honest. That's not going to happen with a guy like you. Like, it's just not. You're an honest man. Your dating style is different because you're a little older. Okay. So, and wiser. And so like the type of women that you're going to create dating with is not going to be like this, oh, whatever type of dates. Like women you're around your age are going to be like, what are you looking for? Okay, great. And they're going to be pretty upfront, where it's kind of like you're already being directed. There's no way to really play the field unless you intentionally try to play the field, but that's not you. So that's why I'm saying you're living too much in the future. You know what I mean? Your goal is just to talk to women, because you were married for years and years and years and years and years and years. And so you're just now figuring out who Dawn is, having fun, exploring options, even having women friends, having friends that aren't women sometimes, going on dates, because who's to say that you go on a date with Amberly and the second date doesn't go really well? And you're like, yeah, Apollonia, like she was talking really bad about her ex-husband, like that she took all this money from him and she doesn't have a relationship with her kids, and just seems really like, I don't want that drama in my life. It's just something in me is just telling me no, right? But then you're dating Amber over here, Amberly, and then Anne, sorry. You're dating Anne, and she's come from somewhat the same background. She's pacing herself. She's like, I'm going to see my grandchildren this weekend, but let's go maybe wine tasting next week, right? You've kissed her maybe once, something happened. That doesn't mean you have to tell Anne about Amberly yet. You've already made your decision about Amberly. You see what I mean? That's how dating starts to happen. The only time that you're going to have to be honest is if you find two women, which could happen sometimes, that are highly invested in you and you're highly invested in them. Then that's when you come to me and you say, here's the situation I got myself in. What do I do? And we're here. But there's no need to think like, I'm going to be a player if I go to speed dating and I'm talking to all these women. That's not how it works in our modern day age now.
I got you. I'm still working through it.
Working through what?
Oh, just the whole dating issue and how I used to think about it. And
Yeah, and I get
we're
it.
going now.
I mean, you're new to dating. It's been like 15, almost 20 years since you've dated. So of course it's completely different now. Like you didn't have speed dating 20 years ago. There's not even such a thing, you know? So like, when you say, I just have a mental block that I'm overcoming with the dating mindset, I have, and being honest with women, that I'm discovering myself, what I want, and looking to make friends with more women. So here's the thing. When you're getting to know a woman through chat, through anything, every guy on here, when he's getting to know a woman, is going to be like, I'm looking, depending on where he is going to be like, I'm looking for something serious in the future, but at this moment I'm looking just really to get to know you, right? But if you're not looking for anything serious right now too, that's okay, so, and you could look for something serious, but for you it's going to be a different lingo. It's going to be more of like, I'm out here trying to put myself out here. It's the same term, but you're saying it differently. I'm just trying to put myself out here. I was just married for a long time. I'm looking to, discover what dating is like, see where that takes me. If I find a great woman, excellent. And if I just have a friend, excellent as well. You're still saying the same things. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really stress about how to say it. I would just articulate yourself in a confident way of knowing what you want, because the thing is, you're not confident with this mindset because you're unclear still on what you want. You're all like, oh, do I want a relationship? Do I want this? But it doesn't work like that right now for you. It's here's what I want. If a relationship happens, great. And confirm it with yourself, because once you confirm it with yourself, it'll come out in your language and how you speak to women when you go on the speed dating and all this, and challenging yourself to do, which is great. And I think you're ready for it, to be honest.
All right.
We enrolling in the speed dating thing this week?
My age bracket isn't until 2 weeks from now.
Perfect. I'm going to follow up in 2 weeks then.
That's funny.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Who loves speed dating? I don't know if I put you in contact with him. He graduated from this program. His name is Brian. I think it was Lauren I put you in contact with, right?
Yeah, Lauren. Yeah, I've talked with him.
He's a great man. I love that man. He's so,
Yeah.
He was kind of like, you weren't here on our last calls, but Vincent, he had a lot of similarities to you. He had like a lot of like a wall he had built, like a huge man. One day, Vincent, like he got on one of our coaching calls and he got really frustrated with me. Like he almost told me off. Like he got so frustrated with me, and I was like, yes, this is what I needed from you. I needed to see emotion, some type of emotion. And after that, like he just literally, he let go and he just freaking flourished. Like he changed his life around. He's moving to Colorado. He's been dating women. He has a better relationship with his kids. It's like, wow. Yeah. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. Dawn, check in with me after your 2 weeks. Okay.
Okay.
Practice. I'm going to have, did Cynthia say you're ready for your mock dates with another woman now?
I've had 2 with Carly.
Okay, we need a woman your age though. So I'm going to talk to her about that. Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to dive into mine or?
I can. Nick, his hand went up before yours, so I'm going to answer his question. Hi, Nick. Nice to see you.
Good to see you as well. I have a question. Something happened that with over 10 days ago, and I wanted to know if I did the approach correctly.
Okay.
I took my son, who's 3 years old, showing him how to cast. And I noticed that there were 3 ladies sitting there next to their jet boat. And so I decided to go, okay, let's see if I can start a conversation with them. And I noticed one of them was just kind of looking at us through our behavior, what I was doing, teaching him how to cast. And so I went over there and I said, well, checking our male bonding too. So that they laughed, and then we started talking. I introduced myself to them. And then I went back to to my grandson and started working with him. But before we left, I walked up to them and just gave every one of them my business card, and I told them how much I enjoyed their conversation. If they ever want to have a cup of coffee or a drink, let me know. I'll be delighted.
Mhm.
So this was over about 10 or 12 days ago. And I left, and then I had a text from someone I had no idea who it was, just saying, "Nice meeting you." It just, after I thought about it a little bit, and I said, "Looks like it's one of them." I haven't responded to that. I wanted to know if the dynamic that I approached was something that was correct, or for the lack of a better
So
word.
it was two women sitting down and you just kind of teased them a little bit, right?
Right. Three of them were sitting next to next to the shore, on shore, next to their ski jet.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it worked. If she messaged you as well, I think it worked.
Well, the part that I really enjoyed that was different, that I thoroughly enjoyed talking to them without having a agenda.
Mhm,
That was really something that I haven't experienced before.
mhm.
I thought about that quite a bit, and after that, and I said, "But maybe I need to, ask you that question, or Cynthia." That's why I brought it up.
Yeah, and that's what when you get to the approach segment of the program, I talk a little bit about approaching, I believe. I say this a lot. Like, it's not about getting a outcome or a number. If you flow, then the number will come, because we just don't know like where the woman is in life. Like, maybe she has a boyfriend, or maybe she's just traveling and only there for a day. Um, so every time that you have fun in your interactions with women will feel this and they have fun as well. Right. So like, that's why I always say is like, motto should always be, you just have fun. And if you're having fun, they will have fun too. And I think that if the woman reached out to you afterwards, she really did enjoy speaking with you, and maybe was, kind of interested in getting to know you a little bit more, maybe as a friend, or maybe more. We don't know yet. And that's why I think it's okay to kind of reach back out and say, "Hey, it was nice meeting you too. How are you? How's your week been going?" Try to start a conversation, and then maybe just ask them out, maybe just ask her out for a coffee, or would love to pick up on our conversation. What do you have planned this week? "Oh, I'm traveling this week, but next week I'm available." And just kind of, start from there. But yeah, I think that, I think approach, depending on your energy, um, light humor, banter is good to approach, and just teasing. Some women like it, some don't, depending on your environment, depending on the energy. It's all, you have to feel out where you are. And I think you did a good job with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Nice to see you here, by the way, Nick. William, go ahead, and then we're going to get into our segment for today.
Well, I was wondering about that, trying to reconnect with my ex. We spoke and texted for a month. We spoke for 5-7 hours on the phone, and we texted every day for a month. And she first came at me with,
After the breakup?
after the 2 months after the breakup,
Uh-huh.
3 months after the breakup.
Okay.
We hadn't spoke before that for a month. We spoke just a little bit before that. Then she blocked me for some reason. She says she didn't, but she did. Then a month went by, no contact. I was out doing my thing, dating. And then she reached out, and it was just like nothing ever happened. We were just, we talked on the phone for about 7 or 8 hours over a month, on the phone. And then we
So what was
texted
the reason why you broke up?
well, I didn't communicate right for her. I didn't lead her correctly for her. There was just a friend that she had the whole time that I didn't know about till a year ago. And I said, "Hey, get rid of this dude, block, delete, all that." And that's all I said. I didn't worry about it after that. So this guy was in her ear for at least 2 years. I guess all he had to do was figure out the things I wasn't doing right, write them down, and then get good at them. But anyway, so then we had a big fight. The last day we were together, we had a big fight. Neither one of us had any sleep. Her son had got in some trouble at school, and I had asked him to do something 2 days before that. And while I was doing something to take care of a situation for him, I said, "Hey man, just clean your room." Well, she come up losing her mind about that. I just kept calm. So then we had plans later on that night. So I went downstairs and calmed her down and said, "Hey, we can still make this concert happen. Let's just not let it ruin our night. We can, we can salvage this." So she decided to go. She got some sleep on the way to the concert. I hadn't had any sleep for 2 days. We both worked night shift, weird hours. But anyway, so we went to the concert. Halfway through the concert, her demeanor changed and it just went downhill from there. So we had a big fight all the way from Lexington, Kentucky to Lexington, Indiana, about 100 miles. By the time we got halfway there, she said, I think while we were going to go to Alabama 3 days later, and I was going to propose to her. So she said, while we're in Alabama, I think you should move out. But she had been telling me to move out for a month, about 40 times for a month. And I just didn't pay any attention to it because she did it all the time, stuff like that. So once she calmed down, everything would be fine and then we'd get through it. And, but anyway, so we were broke up for 2 weeks. We tried to get together to reconcile. She wanted to reconcile. We went to her family's for Easter, the day before Easter. I did some work around her house. She wanted to reconcile by going in the house and doing some things that she had told me we weren't going to do. That was her way of fixing things, certain things you do together. I wanted to go to a separate venue and talk about all the issues we were having. So we didn't agree on that. And she took that as a rejection and ran straight to the just a friend and has been with him in a rebound for 3.5 months.
Oh, so she's in a relationship with him, right?
It's a nice little rebound. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't really contact her right now if she's in a rebound relationship. I would use this time really for you, William, because
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I mean, I wouldn't really focus on getting her back because it seems like, I'm not saying that it was an unhealthy relationship, but I'm not too sure if there was like really a good compatibility there as well for her to have this guy in her life while she was dating you. I know you did some things that you acknowledged that you weren't good in the relationship too, and you could have done better with. But I mean, all in all, like a lot of times we attract the mirror of how we show up in our life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, with her, she's still in a rebound. We just let it be. But I also think that if she comes back to you, you let us know after that rebound relationship is over. If it's something you want to sample out, then do it. But you're going to notice once you start elevating and putting yourself out there, you're going to date different caliber type of women. And the question of getting her back is probably not going to be that question anymore. It's going to be like, I'm doing things right. This feels good. I see different types of women. Wow, I have 2 or 3 types of women that I really like. They're different type of women. And this is what you've been talking about, Apollonia, where it's not even a kind of a question. And if it's still a question in your head about getting her back, then we'll try. But by doing the work and knowing like what's good for you, what type of woman you want to spend your life with, stuff like this, and starting to do that work in this program, that question can evolve, it depending on situations. Like Andy has a situation, like I'm trying to help him with, but like it's completely different than yours. And I think that it's really important for situational things to be understood by the coaches, because sometimes too, getting the expat can be a beautiful thing and then having a great relationship after that, right? Yeah. But it also can derail your growth too if we focus too much on it. And I wouldn't really suggest on your particular situation right now focusing on it, because for a woman to get out of a relationship, how long were you guys together?
3 years.
So for a woman to get out of a relationship after 3 years of a man that you knew gave you question marks, and then she got into a relationship right afterwards, is a huge red flag, right? So she was lying to you a lot in the relationship. Oh God, I love dogs. She was lying to you a lot in the relationship, number one. And number two, like for her to jump into another relationship says a lot about her self-esteem, her worth. Why is she getting into another relationship so fast? You know, especially if it's a rebound. So there's a couple things there that kind of get my attention that are things I wouldn't recommend for us to really put a lot of attention on right now. I'd rather that attention go to you right now.
All right, I just wanted your opinion. I'm in no contact for 3 weeks. She tried to reach out once in those 3 weeks. So
It's definitely a rebound. But here's the thing, it's like
I know
Yeah.
it's a re-
you have to take responsibility. She does too.
yeah.
Here's the
She
thing.
knows it's rebounding. It's not going to last. She even said that.
Yeah, but also too, it's like, you know, when you do talk to her, you say it in a nice way, and you're just like, you know, seeing you just get with this man after being with me for 3 years, and I even told you, like, I don't have a good feeling about this, and you still were friends with him, and then you go and see him, gives me more clarification of why I felt this way. You know, like, I'm not looking for that. Like that, this is just, it's just crazy to me, like, that you're just with this guy all of a sudden. Like, it's not about you being with someone else. It's about you lying to me in this relationship, because it was a lie that you were feeding me if you ended up being with him after me.
Yeah, I communicated all these things. Yes.
Good. Good. Then she knows. Perfect.
Transition relationships are unstable.
Good job, William, for communicating that. Yeah.
Did we already go through between weeks 1 and 7 in the questions I need to ask the women I meet?
Questions. Week 1, you said week 1 through 7.
Yeah, I'm already on 7 or 8, I think.
Hold on.
I talked a lot last week. I'm trying not to talk as much this week.
Week 7. Okay, you're on week 7 and 8. Okay, so you're on the flirting area. We've gone into masculine polarity, leader of men mentality, yes. Approaching women, yes. Yeah, we've done all of these calls, coaching calls, but it's okay. You'll see me. I kind of go around, you know what I mean? Like, I go from 8 to 9 to 10, 11, 12, and then I can sometimes pop in and do week 5, depending on what I feel like all the guys need. But we can also talk about that too, so that's no problem.
Our last mock date, they said I needed to get, ask the questions I need to find out, about the woman, and I guess I didn't do
Is
that.
it like the type of woman? Is that what Cynthia's telling you?
Yeah, to find out what type of woman she is, yes.
Okay, yeah, we have, yeah, that's kind of towards the end of the program.
Okay.
Week 11, yeah, but I was actually thinking about doing week 11 today. I don't know what, it kind of came up, and I was like, no, I haven't done advanced flirting yet. We need
We're right here.
to
I have been on several dates, and they are really, I haven't run into my type. So I've been dating not my type, and it's been productive as far as getting more dating experience. It's like when I get out of a relationship, I forget everything I know about dating or something. But so I've been dating petite brunettes, which is really not my type. I'm more into curvy blondes, but it's giving me a little more experience, and I'm seeing what's out there,
Yeah, I think that's good. And here's the thing is, I wouldn't always be so fixated on the type, you know what I mean, too much. Because I would be like, if a woman, let's just say you're on a date with a brunette, right? Let's say that you're like, wow, she seems like a really good person. You know what I mean? Like, we had a lot to talk about. I felt a little bit of a connection, even though she's not physically my type, she's still an attractive woman, I wouldn't say to throw that out of the door. Where a lot of men go wrong, they get fixated on the way a woman looks because of a specific type.
Yeah.
That when they find the type, they put that on the forefront and they delete everything else, and they don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so be careful with that. I get so
I have dated all types: brunettes, dark black hair, blondes, redheads. I've dated, so I mean, it's
yeah,
just I don't know.
I'll be
Kind of
honest.
stuck on this one type right now, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get a little concerned when guys say this, because Here's why. It's because I think society, men, other men, I mean, just society as a whole has taught men to date your type, right? If you have to be physically attracted to a woman, but you have to really think about like, yeah, I always say this, men should always be physically attracted to anybody that they're dating. But you have to define what physical attraction is to you. Like you just do. I don't know if I've told this class the story, but I told classes the story. They think it's the funniest story. On our second date that me and my husband had gone on, I think, yeah, it was our second date. I asked him, like, what type of woman do you like? And he's like, oh, I like a nice woman, a woman that, you know, has the things going for her. She's really nice. She's kind. She treats other. I'm like, no. Physically, what kind of woman do you like? You know? And he says, and he just stopped and he's like, you really want to know? And I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm like, what is he gonna say? And he's like, I don't think I should tell you. And I'm like, no, tell me. What now? I want to know, you know, as a woman, you like, we get like this. And he's like, typically blonde hair, blue eyes. And I am not even close to that. Right. And I always remembered that.
Yeah.
And in my head, it was like, okay, I couldn't knock him. He was honest with me. And then I was like, then what am I doing here? He's like, see, this is why I couldn't say anything. Now you're gonna get me in trouble. And he made it like a joke. He wasn't like combative with me. And like, and I was like, fine. And then I friend zoned him, like in my words, I was like, okay, fine, then we can just be friends. You know, I was like being little catty girl testing him. He's like, okay, we'll be best friends. And he winks and he just goes along with it. Right. And look at, he's my husband now, 7 years later. He was so good with this. Right. And I had a conversation because I was like a running joke. Like, oh, maybe I should dye my hair blonde. I would tell his friends, like I would tell my friends, a family knows, like it became a running joke in the house. Right. And this is the thing, like I told him, I was like, babe, why did you, when we were serious about it, why did you say like blonde hair, blue eyes? Was that really your type? I was like, yeah. He's like, that was all of them. If you looked at all of my ex-girlfriends in the past, blonde hair, blue eyes were the type of girls I used to date. And I was like, so why with me it was different? He's like, because I noticed that blonde hair, blue eyes wasn't always going to give me what I wanted.
Yeah.
What I wanted was more deeper. And he was like, and you're already a beautiful woman. I was attracted to you.
Yeah.
But well, you weren't my type. But I had to look beyond my type. And now I'm the happiest I've ever been because the qualifications go deeper than that. And he's like, you know, and honestly, he told me like men in our society are so trained to be like, here's the type of woman that's hot, go after her. And he's like, and that's why all my relationships failed. Because I would date women because they were beauty and they were nice, but then they would be so selfish. They would lack in some certain areas that I wasn't really particularly defining what beauty truly was. Right.
Yeah.
So that's where I get a little concerned when guys say like, I have this specific type and I want to date this specific type, because then we're closing that door to something else sometimes. So just,
I'm opening it up.
Yeah, be very careful with that. Open it up, because God, universe, whatever you believe, energy will test you. Bring you a great woman with green hair. Okay.
Purple hair.
Anyways, so let's go into, yeah, I would love to do that because it kind of goes into flirting. Let's go into like some questions on first dates, second dates, things like this. So what I want to do, William, with you, I'm going to do it. We're going to do like not really mock dates with Cynthia, but I'm going to do some practice things with you where I'm telling you in the chat what you can say to me.
Okay.
Okay. And then I want the guys to actually be able to see what you're saying to me without them seeing on the chat. I want them to see the difference. Okay. So
Okay.
Me and you are just really having a conversation at a coffee shop. Fine, we'll call it a date, whatever, don't care. And you know really nothing about me. We got set up from a friend of a friend. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're sitting down and I'll start off and I'm like, hey, William, it's so great to meet you. I'm happy that you look like the picture our friend sent.
Am I supposed to be seeing this? I can't see it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't put spotlight. I put pin. Sorry. Hold on one second, William. Spotlight. Hold on. Let me put you in the spotlight. Okay, cool. Now you can see me, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Can
I
you see?
said, I don't see the words. I saw spotlight your video up top.
Oh, no, but I'm just gonna, you'll see me type something come through
Oh, okay.
when it's
Oh,
time.
okay. Okay. Sorry.
So yeah, let's begin. So hi, William, it's so nice to see you. It's awesome that you look like your picture that our friend sent. Thank goodness.
It's great to see you. I'm glad you could come out today.
Yeah, me too. So go ahead, talk to me, William. Why are you frozen? Are
how's
you
your,
scared?
how's
Are you
your week been so far?
scared?
I'm not scared, no. How's your week been so far?
My weekend has been really good. I went scuba diving a little bit because I'm going to trying to get my license certification in scuba diving. It's been one of my goals. So I've been just kind of taking classes right now.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting. I was thinking about doing that at some point. Haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I feel like I'm just alone. Like I feel like the world's problems wash away when you go underneath the water.
Well, that brings up one of my favorite subjects, the Gulf of Mexico. I have a mistress that is the Gulf of Mexico. I like to get down and see her once or twice a year.
What does that mean?
I just enjoy the beach. Something about the beach just blows all your troubles right through the back of your hair. And, you just get to sit on the beach and relax for a little bit, enjoy the scenery and nature and whoever you're with.
Yeah, for sure. That's nice.
I like to joke that she's my mistress. I only get to see her a couple times a year.
Yeah, it's like, what is this mistress thing? Oh,
But yeah, scuba diving would add to that experience for sure.
yeah, it's pretty awesome, but
I,
it can be scary too.
yes, I bet. Yeah.
Mm.
I spent the weekend doing some volunteer work and helping move some furniture for my daughter, just basic stuff.
Oh, well, that's nice. Um, so hold on, I'm just messaging you. So I would ask a question like this to go a little bit deeper, just right away to figure out what type of woman she is.
How
And she's so passionate about it,
so what got you into scuba diving?
What got me into scuba diving? You see how you're more inquisitive, like because remember what William is trying to do, and what I'm trying to get him to do is figure out what type of woman I am. Like, where's my head at? Like I'm speeding up the date, by the way, like 30,
Yeah,
because the beginning of the dates are like 5 minutes in. We're trying to just surface level conversation, make him feel safe and open it
that
up.
that's one of the problems I think I had on that last mock date is I'm used to a 30-minute date, not a 5-minute date, so I'm taking my time to get, flirt and stuff like that. And I just pounding right into it.
Yeah, but you have a goal in the mock dates, so that's why we
Yes,
have to
yes.
into it. I
I
think
know.
they should be 5 minutes. They need to be at least 15. If they're
Yeah,
5,
there's something like that. It feels like 5 minutes, but yeah.
okay. um, anyways, what got you into scuba diving? What got me into scuba diving? So a while ago, I went to Tahiti, and it was probably the best vacation I've ever been in, like ever, ever, ever. And I have like this kind of mindset, like I always want to challenge myself. Like I live to challenge myself because what I do for a living also, I suggest people to challenge themselves as well. So I want to be a byproduct of what I'm also teaching. And so I went to Tahiti and I registered for scuba diving, and I didn't know what I was in for. And you actually swim with the sharks.
Wow.
And I was so nervous, but it's so interesting how like your mind can control everything. So I was so nervous because I was just thinking about how a shark's going to bite me and da 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 da. But then I switched my mind and I was like, what if they don't? You're safe here. They do this all the time. Like, this is the ocean. You're okay. It's different. And so they started first with these huge stingrays. Like you would scuba dive, you would dive or swim, excuse me, not dive yet, but swim first with these huge stingrays, and they would come by you and just like basically cut your skin. And I was just like kind of scared because their stinger was so long. And then I remember when my feet hit the water, like I was just so proud of myself, like for doing it. Like it was just such like a gratifying experience. And then after that, we went into the ocean and I was just surrounded by sharks, and they were not even really focused on me. And the one thing that like the scuba diver instructor said in Tahiti is sharks are so used to people in Tahiti because a lot of the people feed them, right? So they don't look at the humans as food unless they're starving or else they're in an area where they're having babies or something is happening. And I got to see that, like, they want nothing to do with you. Sometimes they'll even come by you because you have food, but it was just such a beautiful experience. And I felt like I was like with them. I don't know, it was like an out of body experience. I felt like I belonged there. And after that, diving with sharks and getting over my biggest fear of sharks, I actually fell in love with sharks. And that's what made me want to scuba dive. But I'll be honest, I won't scuba dive too much with sharks in the US. I'll probably go to other countries that are used to like taking care of their sharks and not using fear tactics about sharks when you really study it.
Did you feel like you were in a different world when you were under the water?
I felt like I was in heaven, to be honest. Like I felt like I was the closest to experiencing heaven.
That would be a good trip to have a partner to go with.
Yeah, for sure. But until that time comes, I'm okay with doing it myself.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it seems like a good trip. That's really interesting how I could feel how the passion coming out of you when you were talking about it.
Yeah, for sure. Very passionate about it, that's for sure. I just feel like it was a life changer. You know, like that I had 5 seconds to think, am I going to do this or not? Because they don't care. You stay on the boat or you go. And that 5 seconds impacted me significantly. And it makes me think of how many people get a decision in 5 seconds and they don't take it, and how much it's changed my life. You know, like nothing really scares me too much. The only thing that scares me is losing someone I love. But other than that, like nothing really scares me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a really interesting story. Thanks for telling me.
Yeah, of course. So here's where, William, I'll actually do it with you now. I'm not going to write you because then it takes a while. Here's where you now share something that's impacted your life that can be kind of similar or relatable. Is there anything?
Well, I took a trip a year or so ago and I did some zip lining, and this was a major zip lining park. I mean, they had 30 stations going down a mountain. So you were on this thing for like an hour, you had to strap up on each section, come off the pedestal, and each one had a different incline and one even curved. It was really intense for a first experience. It was like floating. It was kind of like what I would say zero gravity would feel like. And on some of the, between some of the stations, it was exhilarating. I was really kind of afraid of heights, so some of it was really a test, but it was really interesting.
That's awesome. So here's where I would, in the storytelling skills, you skipped out on every emotion on your storytelling skills here. Okay, you're being too manly in this conversation. You're talking to your buddy right now, right?
Yeah.
Like you saw how much emotion, like I told you, when I made you feel something. Did I make you feel something when I explained? Did I make anybody feel something?
Yes.
Yeah. But then when William talked, did anybody feel something from what he said? You see the difference, right? And we didn't get any nods, so I'm assuming no from the guys. You see, like we need to, the storytelling skills need to share emotion, like we went on top of this mountain. It was so high. On the bottom, all I saw was ocean. It was crazy. I was nervous. My knees were shaking, everything was, and because I'm scared of heights. And we went down the zip lining thing. And I just remember once I went down, there was like zero gravity and like the butterflies went away. And I was like, wow, this is such a beautiful experience. Like I could do this again and again. It felt so great to get over that fear of heights. And now like I look forward to zip lining, whatever it is. Right. Like that was probably the moment where I felt the closest to letting go of my fear, like you did. Now you're becoming a little bit more relatable. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Now you're impacting her just as much as she's trying to impact you in a conversation. And then when that conversation's over, you can even say something like, wow, like you're a woman that really likes to challenge herself. That says a lot about you. That's awesome. That's pretty powerful. You know that?
I
And
was thinking,
you know, you see what I mean? Like now you're getting to really see what type of woman you're dating. The reason why men struggle with seeing what type of woman they're dating is because they're just staying in surface. That's the only reason. It's because you're just staying on the surface level. You want surface level 1000% men, especially in the beginning, just to warm it up, okay? But when you get past that warm up, that's when you want to go past the surface level. That's when we enter in the flirting, okay? Because flirting also goes in bantering, the basics of flirting, which we went over on one of the calls, opens up that door too, right? Because there's 4 steps. Remember, I'm going to go over these 4 steps with you guys to remember. There's 4 goals in every cold, warm, hot stage that you get in flirting, okay? This is something that if someone was to teach flirting, there's always goals in flirting. Like you can go to Barbara, you can go to Xavier dating coach, you can go to Apollonia dating coach. Every dating coach will tell you if they're good and they're healthy dating coaches, that there's specific goals that have to be met inside of flirting all the time. Okay, it doesn't ever change. And the goals is what's really important though. Like your goal is not to touch a woman. That shouldn't be a goal. Then that dating person is wrong. Okay. But I want you to always think like there's a specific goal. So there's always 4 goals in your flirting. And there's always 3 stages of flirting, obviously, if we really think about it. I call them just cold, just for sake of being easy: cold, warm, and hot. We all know what the hot stage is. It's seduction, you're kissing, making out, maybe going home together at that point. Medium is you're getting closer. She's touching your leg, possibly. You guys possibly kissed already or almost getting there. And the cold stage is you're just testing her out and you're opening up and showing intent, right? So in each of these stages, the 4 goals have to be met. And she has to respond clearly to all these 4 goals in order for you to go from cold to hot all the time. And if she doesn't respond to these 4 goals, you stay in cold as long as you can, because it doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. And in fact, this woman might need more time too, depending on religion, ethnicity, belief systems, age, where she's at in life, right? Because here's where men go wrong, because they're listening to information out there a lot, is if you're assuming and you're comfortable with yourself, and I think Christopher has really defined this and really noticed this, is when you get clear and define and know what you're doing and know what you want and you're clear on how to do it, what happens now, it's not about, I'm doing something wrong because the girl is not kissing me right now. It's like, no, I did everything right. This girl just needs more time now, or this girl just takes things a little slower. Because how men define, what I've noticed is how men are starting to define the process of dating is by the result that they have in their head that they get, which is not the truth. Because the result that you get, honestly, is going to always typically be up to the woman. And a man can't make a result happen. He can just open the door for the result to happen if she's ready. And as long as that door is open, it'll remain open, and she knows that. So she will take that to the next level when she's ready. That's why I say when you get to the hot stage of flirting, 99.9% men have to do nothing. All you have to really do is a cold and warm hot. And if you ace it, the woman will take you to seduction.
Yeah.
Like it's just, and women and men think sometimes, and I see it in the comments, I see it in YouTube comments, real comments, is like, why do we have to do all the work? And it's like, that's so not far from the truth. It's so far from the truth. Seduction, the hardest part of seduction, women will, 99.9% of them will do it. Mark my words. When you take them there, they will lead you there. Okay?
So I met a woman at Sam's the other day, and my cart was in the middle of an aisle or over by the edge of an aisle, and I was over here looking for chips. And she walked past the aisle and ran. She got tangled up into my cart. I mean, she would have had to run right into this thing to get tangled up in it, but she did. So I started talking to her, flirting with her. I said, there must be some kind of reason why, you got tangled up in my cart so I could come over and talk to you, I guess. She goes, well, I was actually staring at you and I ran into your car. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You see, she already somewhat took it there for you.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like when you start, they follow. Like it's just, it's in our nature because it's a feminine power that we have. Like even a woman that's more in her masculine will still do this too, right? Like it's just part of how we operate in our, like it's second nature for a woman to do this. Like it really, really is. It's kind of like one of those things, if he opens the door and I'm going to take it, then I'm going to take it because he gave me the choice to take it, So yeah. So remember the 4 goals that we're always trying to reach in every stage of flirting is goal A is you must show intent. Okay. No matter what. And the reason why this is important, we talk about intent a lot, is because you're separating yourself from the man that she is dating to a man that she can just have a conversation with, be friends with, brother, uncle, whatever. Okay. You are a man she's on a date with, and you are a man of interest in her. And it's not creepy for a man to be interested in a woman, especially if he's asking her out and taking her out on a date. But we can't show interest on a first date and be like, I like you a lot. You're so hot and attractive. That's not the intent that we're trying to show on a first date. Like that's creepy, right? So for example, on William and I's fake date, he could have shown intent and gave me a compliment and been like, wow, you're like I see like the way you think and the way you operate, you're really deep. And that's like hard to come by. That's so attractive. Like that's super attractive. Wow. You're a breath of fresh air, and be like, I know you're not getting fresh air down below, but I'm getting it up here, like, and just making a joke out of it, right? With her. Now he's showing, like, a brother wouldn't say that. A cousin wouldn't say that. Her best friend from like kindergarten that's just friends and he's married and has a family wouldn't say that, because that's not intent, because he's not that type of guy, because that's not what he's there for. You're giving her direction. Guys, I want you to always remember this. When you show a woman intent, you're giving her a choice. This is so powerful. This whole thing about, like consent and all this stuff with women, like you won't fall into that trap if you're just leading yourself in true power of intent, because a woman knows you're there and a woman knows why you're there. And we want to know why you're there. We don't want to guess. That's why we get so frustrated with friend zone, nice guy stuff, right? And that's why we end up friend zoning, is because we don't feel something. Remember rational attraction versus emotional attraction? We've talked about that as well. It's in the program. Goal B is earning her trust through story building. That's what I was trying to do with you, William. That's story building, earning her trust through story building. And inside the story building, you're going to have emotional connection, status stories. Who can tell me what status stories are?
Is it showing something you've overcome, and how you've improved from it?
Exactly. Yeah. Like I could tell you how you build your business or something, or how you changed your major in college, Christopher, and now you're going to go for engineering. I don't know, like something like this, right? It still shows status, right? It shows that, Andy, you love to race cars, right? Like it's a status story inside of something, right? So it's a connection you're building. Earning her trust by using we statements. And inside all of this, you can banter and have light flirting, right? So going back to the example of our fake date, William and I, remember when I gave him an example and he was like, yeah, and I was so scared of heights. He's calling himself out, right? He's calling himself out. But the status in this is like, he did what he did, and now he got maybe over his fear of heights just a little bit. But that was the closest that he's ever felt as well to like a higher power or just away from life. That's where that emotional connection comes in. Then he was like, well, it would sound better if you had someone to do that with. That was kind of a we statement when he said that, right? But he was also bantering in that a little bit too. You see, so that's where that earning her trust comes in. It's through story building, because you can't earn a woman's trust if we're just staying at surface. Because if we stay at surface on something, think of it like this. If we're staying on the surface of something, we're not offering them to see this. And this is what makes people fall for you. But you have to fall for yourself. And that's why this program is huge. And you have to see this in order for the woman to see it. You have to be more open to yourself, to opening up. That's why we practice here. Okay. Now, the next goal C, is the healthy push and pull. Okay. The healthy push and pull. That's where the banter comes in, the teasing, you know. And William could have joked with me and be like, okay, if I went scuba diving with you, or he can even make up a story. Like last time I tried scuba diving, I wore these Billabong swim trunks and they flew right off. It was the most embarrassing thing ever. Right, because I went so deep in the water. And then you know, and you can make a joke, and then the healthy push and pull, she'd be like, oh my God, no way, I would have loved to see that. And I would have been like, you know, I would have been like, no, this is I'm just trying to do a healthy push and pull. Now, you would have to pay to see this. And she's like, oh, please, you know, like, you know, you're pushing and pulling a little bit. You're challenging, not challenging, challenging, not challenging, but not in a threatening way. You know what I mean? That's the playful dynamic, the push and pull. We can do some practices on that today too. And then the last goal is goal D. You're always picking up on positive and negative cues with a woman. This should be, the goal D should start at goal A, goal B, goal C. It should be all the time. You're reading her cues. Like, let's say William said last time I did that with Billabong. I was wearing this Billabong and it just fell off because I went so deep. And she's like, oh, okay. So anyways, that would be a negative cue, right? But a positive cue should be like, oh my God, that's hilarious. I would have loved to seen that, you know? And you're like, no. This is stuff that people got to pay for. What do you think? This is free? I don't give out with this show for free. You know, like you start making fun with her, right? So here's where, and she starts laughing and be like, oh, please, what makes you so special? And then you can just make fun of yourself and be like, listen, this white butt doesn't get white for a reason. You know, like you just make fun of it. Like you don't care, right? Like who doesn't have a white butt, especially a man, because they don't, especially if they're not European, right? So here's the thing is like, that's what I mean. Is like you only know where to take it far if you're picking up on her cues. You only know how to stay there if you're picking up on her cues a little bit. But when we don't pick on cues is because I've seen men, she has a positive reaction, and then he's like, okay, so do you go bike riding? And she's like, whoa. Goal, you're earning her trust. The goal B kind of starts to disappear and be like, is he not picking up on my cues? You know, like that starts to get in her head. And the way that we don't pick up on women's cues is not because we don't know how. It's because we're too much in here. Okay.
I'll do that
Questions
for
about that before we move on, guys? No? Okay, give me 5 minutes. I have to run to the restroom real quick. I'll let you guys talk amongst yourself. I'll be really quickly before we move on.
Good job on the unexpected mock date, William.
Yeah, thank you. How you been doing, man?
Oh, I've been doing great. Thank
That's
you.
great.
I see looks like Nick. I haven't seen Nick before. I know he has my community, he's not here, but you know, nice to see him. Yeah, I've just been a little caught up in some stuff. That's why I haven't been on the mock dates for the last couple of weeks. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it tomorrow, but I'm still looking forward to it next week. Hopefully that'll be the time. So with Cynthia or Carly.
I've been trying to start a small business and it's never ending paperwork. Once I think I'm done, there's something else I got to file and
A small business?
Yeah. It's
What
never.
is it?
I want to be flipping auction cars, but I'm going to do it nice and legally so I can, build it into a dealership in a year or two. Hopefully get a used car dealership in a year or two.
Dude, that sounds amazing. I love cars myself. So congratulations. I hope it goes well for you, bro.
No, thank you very much. Yeah, it's off to a good start. Just a lot of, I'm not used to all this, paperwork and filing and the government and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's always tough
William,
starting something up.
how do you
Sorry,
find
go
out
ahead.
look for the cars, William? Where do you
Well,
get
it's
those at?
option. It used to be back in the old days, a couple of years ago, you could actually go to an auction site and bid on cars. Now it's all on the internet. You have to. I have an auction lot a mile away from my house, but it was just basically a storage lot. So I have to register on 3 or 4 websites, all these national auction companies. So the closest one now is 20 miles north of here, up in Louisville. So that's a very doable. They have auctions every day, and I can do that easily. Or Lexington, which is 60 miles away, I can get over there once a week. And then there's another one about 70 miles away. It's a once a week thing maybe, but it's all online. You have to bid, you have to get registered, you have to have all your paperwork. You can't hardly do it as an individual anymore. And then you have to arrange transportation. The best deals are out of Florida. So I bought 2 cars a couple months ago out of Florida. It was a pain in the tail to get them here. But yeah, it's doable. It's just, a lot of logistics and timing and making arrangements with transport companies. And now they want to send you your title in the mail. You don't get the title with the car all the time, where you used to get it delivered with the car.
You got this, bro. Keep it up. You got it.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's dive back into this. All right. So when we talk about advanced flirting, which is in week 8, this is more like the medium and hot areas, right? So we've already done a coaching on the flirting basics. This is where we just banter a lot. We open it up. And I want to make sure that I'm very clear about this. What we're teaching today is not the beginning of flirting. It's the advancement of flirting. So the way that we know that we're in a different stage, like let's call it our warm stage, right? The way that we know is because of the fact that everything has been assumed in our first stage of cold, okay? Our goal of showing intent has been done. Our earning her trust, all of this has been done, okay? I'm just gonna really quickly go over the first stage with everyone, just so we're just really clear on the stage 1, because I don't want to just anybody to ever jump into stage 2, okay? Excuse me while I catch my breath. I had to run to the kitchen because my mom got me my favorite tea, my Chick-fil-A unsweet tea, which you guys remember me talking about this.
Yeah.
I'm like addicted to, I don't know, probably my pregnancy. I just am craving it all the time.
Can't miss that.
So I want you to remember that I call it the MVP formula, okay? The MVP method. Just remember MVP. Like I am the MVP of flirting, okay? And this is your cold, warm, and hot, okay? MVP. So M means like mindful intent, right? V means showcasing value. And P is just kind of showing passion about something, someone, or her, or yourself, depending on what stage you're at, okay? So let's call it the cold stage, right? We're trying to show mindful intent. So what does that mean? That means more of the mental connection, right? Initial contact, awareness of the surroundings, verbal connection, making her feel good, asking great questions, moving the conversation forward together, not just questioning back and forth, more of like staying in a flow. Does anybody have a question about what staying in the flow means though?
Keeping the momentum going, conversation going.
Yeah, so staying in the flow is kind of like, okay, I'm gonna have a conversation with myself real quick. I really love Chick-fil-A iced tea and and you're like, oh yeah, Chick-fil-A iced tea is really good. But have you ever had their nuggets? And you're like, yeah, I love their nuggets too, but I'm kind of more of like a healthy eater because I had a health scare a long time ago. And this was the health scare and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, wow, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's interesting because I had the same health scare and I changed my whole diet around it. You see how there was no questions? You were just in flow. You're going off of each other, picking up on keywords. You see, like there was no questions on that Apollonia date. You know what I mean? Like you're just bouncing off of each other. Get it?
That was a good conversation.
Thanks. Excuse me. So in that, you're going to see if she's positively responding. You're also going to be showing intent in this mindful intent, the M, right? You're going to be showing intent and be like, well, that's great that you take great care of yourself. That's, I don't know, that's super attractive, or I like a woman that I can connect with. This is cool. Like, I'm having a great time with you. Thank you for telling me that. Thank you for being so open with me and telling me that, whatever. Right. So now you're showing intent in that. She's like, oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, me too. I'm happy. I feel like we're connecting. Boom. Positive cues, gold D, right? You're really looking into that. Okay. You're really focusing on that. And so you're showing intent, the way you're talking, your personality, your tonality. And now you're earning her trust. That's where story building comes in, right? You are talking about, positive attributes, doing a humble, casual brag, probably picking up on great information, pieces of yourself, right? Things like this. And then maybe even opening up a little bit of vulnerability, not too much right now, obviously, just a little bit in regards to, this year I'm missing out with Christmas with the family because I have to actually do something with my job, but it's really hard because I'm a family guy, and not being with my family is going to be hard this year. But instead, this is what I plan. Like the guys that are flying out with my work, we're all going to do a Christmas dinner. We're all going to do this thing called Secret Santa. So we're trying to fill our plates because we're all family guys, and we want to make sure that we also have a good time. And now you're sharing with her a little bit of vulnerabilities about yourself because you're also open to. You're really close with your family, right? And so it's hard, but you're also showing a positive attribute about that. You're not oversharing. It's not coming from shame, right? So that's one of our goals, right? Earning her trust, sharing stories. And so that's where we're at. And then she starts to kind of take a liking to you. And you notice that that's where the pull, push, and play comes in. You're flirting with her. You're showing her banter. It's where the we statements and you come in. You can say something, oh, we're both great cooks. I'm sure we can cook up a good meal together, right? And she'll be like, yeah, actually, what's your best thing that we can cook? And she tells you pot beef stew. I don't know. And you're like, oh, I love me some beef stew. I want to try that. Maybe you should make me some beef stew. Maybe we can do that for my second or on one of our dates. If you make me beef stew, or it would be more enticing. And she's like, what? If you drop that off for me at work one day, that would be awesome. Like just like playing with her to see what she would do. Like, I can't do that. You work so far away. And oh, I do. Okay, no, then we won't need to do this. But it's just like having that push and pull, that planter, that funness with it, right? And then you're paying up attention on her cues. If all your goals are met in this period where the cold stage is, you're going to notice that she's going to be more proactive in interacting with you on a different level. It's not just surface anymore. It becomes more, so what are you looking for? She starts flirting with you. Maybe she sits over closer to you. Maybe she's like, let's have another drink. Let's go to the bar. And she like takes your hand, or she starts flirting with you. And she's like, it's really interesting. Like, this has been a really good date so far, whatever she would say. You're starting to notice now, okay, now we're getting into the warm stage Apollonia talks about, okay? And you're doing this, now it's called value. This is where you're going to showcase value within yourself, right? So then that warm stage is the V part, right, of the MVP. So in here, what we're doing is we're showcasing really more about ourselves and her, right? Like, what is it that you're looking for? This is where your value statement will come in, right? That's where this is where that seriousness comes in. And then also because that seriousness comes in, your flirting, you'll notice, becomes more intense. Like it becomes a little bit more deeper. Like she starts bantering back, she starts giving you questions, or maybe she starts sliding some innuendos in there. Oh, you must say that to all the girls. You know, like something like this, right? She can even say that stage one, but I'm just saying in general, like you'll notice like a stacking of it. You know, you'll notice that things become more seductive a little bit with her. Now you know you're in that warm stage. So what your goal is just to really showcase your value, standards, and purpose in life, and to really have fun with it too. Right. So that's where it's called the value, is the V is in the value, like intent again, goal A. Admit you find her attractive. Tell her what is attractive about her now that you're in this goal, like, because you're showcasing value within yourself. Okay. You can even talk about something sexual in this scene, just to pique her interest. Like, let's say you're on that Christmas thing, and she's like, oh, she's like, what's the worst gift, or what's the best gift that you've ever gotten for Christmas? And you're like, I don't really know about a best gift, but I know the most embarrassing gift that I did get. And she's like, yes, please tell me. She's like, my brother, he loves to like mess with me. He and me and my and you give her a backstory. I don't know, my parents are very like religious, and when it comes to sex, like they're very strict, and you know, all this stuff. This is how we were raised. So you're giving her a little bit of the inside of your life, right? And then you're like, I remember when I was 17 years old, I was not even 18 yet. My brother literally wrapped up a Kama Sutra book under our Christmas tree, and I opened it up, and he said, this is something fun, worth exploring. You're going to love this gift, in front of our parents. And our parents was like so proud that my brother got me a gift, because we didn't really give each other gifts. And I opened it up, and it's a Kama Sutra book. And my parents, you should have seen their face, right? Now you're hinting at something sexual, but it had nothing to do with her. You see what I mean? And she's like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. What, like, were your parents mad, or how did you handle it? You were like, well, I was kind of embarrassed because I was only 17. I didn't know what to do with it. And she's like, well, what did you end up doing with it? Well, let's just say it worked out handy when I started getting intimate with women, right? And now you see how you just started to poke into a little bit of seduction and sex, but it wasn't directed at her. You see, that's what you do in the warm stage, guys. And now you're testing her, and she's like, oh my God, that's crazy. Yeah, that's never happened to me before. You know, like, my best gift is I got roses and blah, blah. Okay, so now goal D, you're paying attention to cues. She's not ready to go there. But if she's like, oh my gosh, so the Kama Sutra book I see worked out handy for you, huh? And now she stays there with you, and she's like, and you're like, yeah, dude, do you have one yourself? Have you ever seen a Kama Sutra book? They're kind of crazy. And now you're staying there a little bit with her, because you're testing her, not staying there too much, because you don't want to overdo it in the sexuality, but you want to poke at it, because now you're planting the seed in her mind. Following, guys? Cool. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So now let's say we showed intent. This is what we're doing here with her. We're earning her trust. You know, we did all the goals. We're in the V period. We have a little healthy push and pull going back and forth. The earning her trust is now, after this like kind of sexual story, telling her, you go back into a little bit of an emotional story about when you zip line, because she was skydiving, or excuse me, scuba diving. And now you're sharing a lot about like how you letting go impacted you so much after that, and you being comfortable with sharing that with her. And then she's like, gosh, what happens in her mind is, after you just did a little bit of a seduction peek, and then you just went into a conversation that hit her heart, now we're in emotional connection. Now we're in emotional attraction. This is where the woman's like, dang, I like this guy. If you do it right, guys, everything else is in her hands. Like, to be honest, like, there's no way. Like,
Game over.
making her feel, exactly, because you're making her feel something. Like, it's just, now she'll put you in the hot zone like this right away. And she'll be like, wow, this is such a great, like, like you'll know she likes you, like just her body language alone, she'll show you. Okay. And this is where that healthy push and pull, and you can tease her now. You're like, the cards are in my hand now. I see it. I see what Appleton is talking. I took it home and she's here. And after this emotional, that's why the emotional part of you sharing emotions and you guys getting really good and descriptive is so important. Do you see how important it is? Because if you can't do it, you can't get the woman to feel something. Remember the difference between rational attraction and emotional attraction we talked about, I think 4 or 3 weeks ago. Like, whew, is that so important? So when we're here, what happens is, like Christopher says, game over. And this is where that push and pull can come in, you know? And she's like, and you just like, whoa, I see you sitting close. I don't mind just sitting close to me. Let's say like one time a guy told me he was on a date, and after when he got here, he noticed something changed with the woman. The woman put her hand like on top, here's his leg, you know, when he's sitting, here's his thigh, here's his leg. Put her hand on there when she was talking to him. And she's like flirting with him. She's like, oh my gosh, da, 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 da. And she's like this, like her aura changed a little bit. And he's like, oh my God, I think this is what he even like told me. He's like, oh my God, I think this is what Apple is talking about. And so he's like, I remember what you said. I had to test her back. And after like 5 minutes, she let go. And then he said something, like he gave it a couple minutes and he said something. He put his arm on her, his hand on her top of her leg, because they were sitting at bar stools. And as soon as he did that, the woman went like this on top of his hand. And he just knew after that, it just started to get closer and closer. And then they started to kiss and blah, 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 blah. Right. So it's like, and the reason he said it was crazy because he's like, I actually got deep with her. When I was getting deep is when she started to put her hand. And he's like, I was definitely in the warm stage. And she started to put her hand. And I knew in that moment, that's the moment you talk about. If you do it right, the hot stage doesn't even, you don't have to, she'll just take you there. And that's what ended up happening. I'm going to stop right here because it's a lot of information. William, go.
I took a woman to a Renaissance fair at one time on a date years ago, and it was great. We sat down for some kind of a comedic skit show, you know, and they're like, give us ideas about what to do. I was like, how about first date at a Renaissance fair? And it just, she lit up, and the guy tore into us, you know. He said, you know, you're never going to get laid taking a woman to a Renaissance fair. It just, it just click right after that. It was great.
So what did that do for you?
It just, that just set the tone for the rest of the day. We were just joking and bantering and, you know, touching each other on the shoulders and stuff. That set the tone for the rest of the day.
Yeah. And I think that's because someone else opened that door for you too. Yeah. That's what happened. So it's actually kind of like cool because you can see someone else even opening up the door for you, which you can do yourself, but you saw it like kind of like a teaching experience too. Yeah. I've seen this before happen.
Well, I knew this Renaissance fair would just be chock full of opportunities for all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome, guys. What time do we have? I want to open it up for some more coaching. I'm going to go into more, we'll still do more flirting. Let me see my calendar. I'm going to try to go into some mock dates tomorrow on tomorrow's call. Are all you guys going to be available for the mock dates tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure about myself.
Okay, no problem, Don.
Yeah, me too. It really, I really want to call these mock dates. It's been a while, but next week is when I'll be able to get on.
No problem.
Tomorrow, unfortunately.
I understand. I'm going to try to do a 6:30 as well time, but I might have I have a chance. I'm going to stop in for the mock dates tomorrow as well, because I'm going to actually do a couple activities with Cynthia and you guys too. So this week and next week, I'm going to try to stop into the mock dates. So I'll just probably be in for a little bit. So even if I miss you this week, it's okay. Next week I'll be there because we've been talking about flirting. So I kind of want to stay on the flirting and kind of challenge you guys a little bit in flirting when we're in these stages. And then I can be descriptive with you when we're there. You'll see what I mean when we do it. And I'll just pop in, and Cynthia doesn't have a problem with it. I'll just do it when she's on the phone. And we'll see what happens. Okay. Questions about anything I talked about today? I didn't get into the hot stage just because that's going to take more time. And so we'll eventually get there. Next week, I'm not going to do flirting. We're going to do something else. I think we're going to do the types of woman, the female algorithm for sure. And then I'll get into the hot stages as people progress in the program. Any questions?
Yeah, I was just curious, when you were saying, the separate sections, M, V, and P, did I miss the title of what the P actually stood for?
Oh, passion, sorry.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So passion obviously is pretty descriptive. Is like, that's where the passion kind of comes in, like the touch, you look at her, because you're in the hot stage, the kissing, the hand on the back, the excitement, the chemistry. Like here's where the tension is going to explode. That's that feeling. Okay. That bliss feeling. I don't know if I've ever shared, I've shared this like a long time ago. It's actually on if you want to know who my husband is, just go to my how to kiss video. It's actually my husband. It's hilarious. People love him in this video. It's a video from like a long time ago. This is when we were like dating after.
Wait, really?
Huh?
Really? I didn't ever think about that. Is that French guy or
Yeah,
no? Is
it's
that
the French
oh
guy.
wow. Wow, who would have thought?
Yeah, it's
Well, he seems like
so
an amazing
funny.
man.
What'd you say?
He seems like an amazing man.
Oh, he is. He's amazing. He's just
Yeah, that was a good video.
Well, that's why he's so good at this.
people
He's
loved
trying.
him. Like if you look at that video, it's How to Kiss a Girl, I think it is. It's an old video. And it's in our old apartment with, you see the Miami view in the background. And this is a technique I actually learned from my husband that works brilliant for men. And he did it with me for our first kiss. And that's how I knew. And I was like, I got to tell every man about this. So it's funny because if you look at the comments on this video, everyone's like, oh, Apollonia's husband's gonna get so mad, or Apollonia's boyfriend's gonna get so mad. It's just so comical to watch. So, to read. So if you're looking for a good laugh, go there. But here's what I want to tell you about a first kiss, guys. Okay. So there's only one way if you're not 100% sure about a first kiss, but you should always be 100% sure about a first kiss, because a woman should be kind of already initiating flirtatious remarks with you, right? That's how you'll be 100% sure. But obviously, we have this little thing in our head sometimes. We want to be respectful, so we're never going to 100% be sure too, right? So here's the thing. I'm not trying to contradict what I'm saying, sorry, but I just want you to be able to make sure that you feel it. And so one of the things that I always tell men to do is this move if you're going in for a first kiss. The best move ever. Let's say it's in the middle of the date or at the end of the date, doesn't matter. You go in for a hug and she gives you a hug. Typically, if rapport has been built, a woman's going to give you a hug, especially if she's been flirting. No woman is not going to give you a hug. So you go in for a hug. And then once you start to escape from the hug and she gives you a pretty good hug, you hold her for a second. And then you just kiss her forehead really quickly. You're just going to kiss her forehead really quickly. And then you're going to look at her in the eyes. That's the moment. When you look at her in the eyes, there's two things a woman will do. She'll continue to look at her, which is going for the kiss, or she'll go like this, like this. That means she's not ready. Okay. Start with the forehead. And if she goes, then release and she's not ready for a kiss. Or if she's like, and she's shy, but she's still looking at you like this, and she's going like this, she knows what you're going to do, and just go in for the kiss. That's exactly what you do. This is how you can really read if a woman is ready for a kiss, and also to not have to face the rejection. It's like a bulletproof technique. And I tell men about this. Do you know how many men have written me about this technique? They're like, holy crap, it works. I do it all the time. So I just wanted to mention that since it came up in my head. All right. As we wrap it up for today, if anybody doesn't have any questions, Andy, I wanted to see how you check in and see how you're doing. If you wanted to chat a little bit.
Yeah, I'm open to it.
Okay. Tell me how you're feeling today first.
Today I'm feeling pretty good. Yesterday was less than. I didn't sleep, and I ended up calling off work. But I did 2 kind of group therapy sessions yesterday to just try and help talk to people and work some stuff through. And I've been really working on the week 3 coursework. And that's been difficult to get out, but once it's on paper and like you can look at it, I was really, really happy to be able to look at that and say, you know, this is on paper and that this is moving along. You know, I mean, I could look at this paper and I see a lot of things that I need to work on, and it makes it more clear.
Yes. So happy you're
And
saying that. And
I
actually,
also,
that
go ahead.
third week is so important for where you're at right now. Like, it was like divine timing for you. But go ahead.
Like I see, like going over this and just looking at it, I see things that were red flags that I didn't want to accept, and other things that, you know, I mean, not that they couldn't be worked out or, you know, other things, but like, I don't know, I guess I'm starting to understand better, you know, what needs to happen with me before anything else happens, you know, to better anyone else. So,
Yeah. Andy, I want you to
I
remember
guess,
this too. Sorry, and then I'll go to you. Just, I don't want to cut you off, but I just, before we get into the next thing, is I want you to remember, like, nothing is urgent with her, with your ex-girlfriend. Nothing is ever urgent. Okay. If you don't feel like talking to her in that day and you said, oh, I'll call you later, it's not urgent. It's not going to make or break something. Okay. So I want you to treat this relationship as nothing is urgent. Okay. And then you were going into something else just now.
just accepting that I think right now the best thing for me is absolutely like no contact, because, you know, as much as I want contact, it makes it like almost resets it, you know what I mean? Like resets the withdrawal, I guess, is probably the best way to put it.
Yeah. Do you mind if I share a little bit of what happened what transpired with your ex this week? Because it happens to a lot of men. This will
Yeah,
help.
that's fine.
Okay. Okay. So just a short summary of what Andy and I are talking about, guys. Andy had messaged me in the DM just to give me an update on what happened with his ex, right? And him and his ex had been broken up, but they haven't spoken for like a couple of weeks, right, Andy? It's been a while.
I mean, off and on, like, yeah, but yes.
Okay. So they hadn't talked for a couple of weeks, and then she just reached out to him a couple of days ago because she was going through something that was kind of fearful for her, and like she was at a loss of what to do. So she was looking for advice and comfort. Okay. And so here's what happens a lot to men is it's kind of like as women. Okay, I'm trying to explain it from a woman's perspective first for you to understand, and then go into what happens with men. It's with women, like for some reason, when we have a man in our life that we can trust, or that was an ex, or that was something, and we know they're a good man, and you know, all this stuff, right? If we are going through something in our life, we will reach out to that person. Okay, because it's kind of like that masculine role. It's like that stronger role. It's like that loving role that we need, right? And so what happened with Andy is his ex reached out to him and was like, you know, this is what's happening. I'm going through here. And he was trying to support her. And so in his head, he's like, is this my way back in a little bit? Because maybe she's opening back up to me and wants to be with me again, which is a valid question, right? But it's not what it seems to be. Women will do this typically after they break up with a man because of the fact that you're a good man, you treated her right, you know, maybe there were some hiccups along the relationship, obviously, but it's because you're her comfort. Okay. And so she goes to you for comfort. And typically what will happen afterwards is the next day, they're always like, I should have not done this. I'm so sorry. I just kind of vomited on you, and they kind of pull it back. And so what happens in the man's head is, oh my gosh, she's reaching out to me, because as men, in your dominance that you should be in your masculine presence that you should be in, you're comfortable with this. When you love a woman, when you care for a woman, you want to help her. So naturally you go into the offense of, I'm going to help her. I need to support her. Now, what does this mean? Now your emotions start to outweigh your logic, right? And so it's happened probably to every man that I know. And so what I want you guys to understand is, when you get here, it's not about the woman wants to be back with you. It never typically is. It's about she finds comfort in you. Okay. Here are the two scenarios that I would say of the one scenario, that I would say, and the other scenario to pursue this a little bit further with her. The one scenario is because you were the man that was 100% emotionally closed off, and you didn't, not you, Vincent, where it's like I was trying to fix her problems. That's not what I mean. Like, you closed off to the problems, you know what I mean? And she's trying to open up, and then you close off again, and you're just showing a repeat pattern. This is where, and it was a healthy relationship. Okay. That's definitely has to be part of it. It was a healthy relationship. This is where it's your time to shine. And I would say, all right, support her like this, maybe follow up with her tomorrow, let her be, don't try to fix a problem, blah, blah, blah. Second one, what I would say not, is if she always did this, if she was hot and cold with you, if she didn't really value you too much as a person, like it's kind of like she's kind of trying to use that part of you, right? And you felt like it was more sucking from you more than anything, and you gave your all to this relationship, and she really didn't invest much with you, or, there was this unhealthy dynamic between the two of you, is where I would say pause. No. Turn it off. Okay. So I just wanted to share that, because Andy was going through that this week, and I know this is so similar to a lot of guys have happened to you guys, or what you guys are going through too. Now, going back to you a little bit, Andy. This exercise in week 3 is going to help your logical mind think, because you're more with this woman of your emotional mind with her. Because let's be honest, we both know that she wasn't the best woman for you in a relationship, but you showed up overly extensive in the relationship, which made her a little bit more unappreciative of it. And there was that codependency part we talked about, we were working through stuff like that. So that codependency part was poked out a little bit here, because it's like, oh, she needs me. She needs me. She sees me. That means that she needs me. So that's where we're kind of like, we need to reprogram that inner little boy in you, the inner child in you, which we'll work through eventually for sure. And then what the work that you're doing now is, I want you to really go back into logical thinking, right? Remember when you were messaging me and I just had questions, and I was like, what is your goal? If you want to talk to her in the conversation, if you want to talk to her tomorrow, why do you want to talk to her? What is your goal? And it made you think, and you're like, damn, yeah, why do I want to? I don't have a goal. My goal is really just to get back to her, but I know I can't get back with her right now, and it's not healthy for me. So really, what is my goal? You see what I mean? So now I got you out of that emotional reaction into the logical reaction. So that's why I questioned you like that, because I wanted you to see that. And then your response changed, and you're like, you're right. Based at the level, I'm seeking my validation outside of myself. Like, just from me asking you that question. You see what I mean? So it's already in you, Andy. Like, you're starting to support yourself, and supporting yourself really fast for how much you cared and loved this person, right? But it's because you're starting to see and recognize that you're loving yourself more now. And it's natural. I noticed it in your responses.
So when she asked me to call her that night, and I didn't know, because you were right, I mean, ultimately I didn't know really even what to say, because my goal ultimately would have been, answers, closure, something, which in one way or another would have ended in an ultimatum, and it just would have taken, the conversation in a dark place that probably neither of us would have been okay at.
And it's
So
selfish.
ultimately,
And
say
it's
again.
and it's selfish. It's
Oh.
like I want closure even though you're going through something.
Ultimately, I did call her, but like I called her with a bunch of notes basically right here in front of me with a bunch of stuff that says no expectations, it's just a conversation, keep it light, stay confident, don't react, be indifferent, just it's just a conversation, just have a conversation, talk, let the conversation go, let her get what she has off of her mind and go with that, and then that was it. So we talked for about a half an hour, and then that was it, and then I haven't talked to her since. So
Good. And that's okay. But I want you, this is where the boundaries comes in, is let's give, and there was no wrong in what you did, but I want to give you another lens of thinking right now. You just asked like what I have talked to her about. So I called her, but what do I talk to her about, right? Or I told her I would call her, so I have to commit to it. It's in your head like this, okay? But what if you didn't have to commit to it? What would that would look like explaining your truth, right? Andy?
in I'm not sure in what way.
Yeah. So you told her, okay, yeah, I'll call you tomorrow. But then you're like, really? Like, I probably shouldn't be calling her tomorrow. But just because I said it doesn't mean I have to do it. So what is my truth here? Why don't I have to call her tomorrow?
Okay, I understand that, but I mean, I didn't. That's not exactly how it went either, though.
No, that's why I said I don't. What you did was still okay. That's why I started. What you did was good, but I want to give you another way of thinking because
Sure.
We kind of, I think as men that are in love, sometimes we kind of bow down when the woman is wanting us, but we need to protect us too, is what I'm saying.
Sure.
So what is your truth here of why you couldn't reach out to her? Like just me to you.
Because it hurts and I don't want to hurt.
Perfect. Now, hey, listen, message her. Hey, listen, about the call tonight, I definitely don't think we should do this. It hurts me more to talk to you right now. I definitely need some time. I wish you the best of luck and support, and I want to support you. Understand it's hard for me not to, but I have to really focus on just myself right now and my own healing. Boom. Now you're taking ownership for you, and she's seeing a different lens. And even though it's hard to say, Andy, it feels so damn good when you do it after a while. Okay. So the reason why I shared that with you, Andy, is because, mark my words, you're going to DM me again. Something else is going to happen. She's going to reach out, and that's your time to show her your truth. And you can even message me your truth. Here's what I want is respond. Here's my truth, Apollonia. What do you think about this? And I'll say yes, or I'll tweak it a little bit, or I'll question you on why you even said this thing. I am with the DM. All you guys know, when you DM me, I go straight to the point. Like, I'm not like, hey, it's so nice to hear from you. I'm like, why this woman?
That's what I like about you.
Like I want to get straight to the point. It's like I have to. But so what the thing is like, here is like, mark my words, Andy. It's crazy that you were on week 3 because those journaling prompts are so good for logical thinking to get you out of that emotional state. So I'm so happy you did it and you're there. Maybe in another week or 2, she'll reach out. And depending on how you feel is how we're going to map it out. Like I told Dawn at the beginning of the call, we're going to stay in the present moment, not the future. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Get yourself a yellow legal pad and fill it up with everything you're thinking, everything you're mad about, everything you got on your mind, every single thing. Just fill it up.
Exactly. All of you should be journaling every single day for at least 15 minutes.
Already got it, man.
I have like 50 journals now. I've been doing it for so many years.
Yeah, I bought a case of them.
So like after getting all this kind of stuff down, like it ended up coming out in just kind of a jumble. Like, there's personal goals, there's non-negotiables, there's healthy communication, and I mean, it's just a jumble. But like, thinking about it right now and just looking at it, like, this is probably one of the most important papers that I have ever written in my life, and I'm gonna get it laminated, and I'm gonna put it somewhere, and I'm gonna always keep it so that I can look at it and say, this is what's not working for me, or this is what is working for me, because it's definitely, like, when I got it done, Apollonia, I actually I sat there and probably had a 5-minute cry, because like, it was profound, in thinking about me, rather than, because I've always thought about all of these things. I've always thought about in regards to, how I would treat another person, not in how I treat myself.
So common for men too. It is such a common thing. Andy, you're not alone in this. I mean, probably almost all these guys can relate to that, what you just said. That's so beautiful. And that's why, so many men live unhappily in relationships more than women.
I'm working on the same thing, Andy.
Don, for
No,
sure. Yeah.
I appreciate all you guys, man. I mean, we're all working through this together. So, I mean,
Keep in touch with me.
I was just gonna say the same too. I'm available, on the app. So, I mean, if anybody needs to talk some shit or whatever, or just reach out, please do.
Exactly. That's what it's there for. And you guys have DM access to each other. Andy, great job. I'm seeing already a shift in you. I definitely am. We're not there yet, but I'm starting to see it, and it's taking effect and working. I had a guy that graduated from the program too, really like week 3. He kind of said the similar things, and he put it on a poster board. Just to share with you, just in case, what he had done is he redid his sheet, and he did it from relationship to goals, and then he had put it like on a you can laminate it. He did it on like a poster board, but he put it in all these different sections. So then when he looked at it daily, like, it was in his sections of what he was looking at. It wasn't all over the place. And he said it's like been so effective for him, because he never thought about himself. Like, it was in his head, but he never just took the time to give himself that self-love. Everybody, especially you, Andy, especially you, Vincent, especially you, William and Don. In the membership dashboard that everybody should have access to, if you do not, contact Rona. There is an interview that I did this week with Jay Barnett. He's an ex-NFL, retired NFL player, and now changed his, went through a big slump after NFL and his injury, and then went back to school to become a therapist. And he got licensed as a licensed therapist, and he helps men. He's talked about what you're talking about right now, Andy, is like how society has trained men to think about dating women, how they're not emotionally open, how even in football, when he was in the NFL, like, even when he went to the locker rooms, the guys, they play this huge game together, and they're so emotionally disconnected from one another. And so, like, how so many of them though were craving it, but the only reason why a lot of them were emotionally disconnected is because a lot of them didn't want them to steal their spot, so they didn't want to get close, so yeah. It's like, and he talks a lot about this, and he talks a lot about like how men need to give themselves different parts of like self-love acts, right? Like doing what you did, the activities you did. He talks a lot about the inner child. That's where you, Andy, I would really want you to listen to this podcast. It's really powerful. You can see it live with our faces on the events dashboard in the membership. Okay. Watch that when you have time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Yes, I have a question regarding the homeworks. I am in chapter 3, and I finished it. I was assuming that it would save it, so I can go back there and edit it. But the next day that I went there, it was all gone. So I have to do it. Is there any way to save and edit these homeworks?
Yeah, so on the job form, okay, the value homework sheet. Let me look if I have yours. Hold on. Because let's see. Algorithm attraction, top values. View. Hold on, let me make sure. What happened to you? Submissions. No, yeah, I don't have yours.
No, what happened was that I went through it, but I didn't submit. I was assuming that it is saved on the web somewhere, so I could go back and edit it and re-prioritize it. But when I went back there, it was all gone.
Yeah. That's what happened. Maybe I should.
I
put-
don't think it saves it unless you do submit it. Like that's the way all the other jot forms have been for me in the stuff coming up form.
I was aware of that, but my question was if there's a way to save it and then go back and
Yeah,
edit,
so,
see if that's really
look-
what we intended to do.
Yeah, let me see if I can ask Rona if there's a way to she can figure out of how you guys can save it, but typically you do have to submit it in order for it to save. But once you submit it, you can go back to it and edit it. You just always have to submit it. Let me ask her. I don't know if there's a specific way to doing it. Yeah, let me ask her if there is a way that we can figure out how to save it. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And if not, just for now, remember moving forward, just to submit it because you can always go back because it gets sent to your email once you submit it.
Right.
So it's kind of like when you submit it, you are saving it. Maybe instead of the button saying submit, I should just have save on the button on the bottom. That's what I'll do. I think that will help all of us. Okay. Thanks for bringing that up, Nick. Anybody else?
I'll try not to make this long, but how do I stop overthinking things?
Jack Daniels.
That's a good question. When you figure it out, please let me know.
Yeah,
Didn't we talk about that a little bit in like week one though? Or the
Yeah.
first couple of weeks?
Thanks, Christopher. We sure did. We sure did. We've talked about this for sure week one. I don't know if you, Andy, were here yet for that group coaching.
No, I wasn't.
But that's a very big one. We'll definitely be doing that one again soon. Andy, so you'll be here. You'll always be here for every topic for group coaching because we have 3 months and you guys can stay on longer if you want than 3 months typically. Dawn and Andy, typically, and everybody, overthinking comes from a trauma response. That's all. That's what overthinking is. It's a true trauma response to something when we were raised, not feeling safe in a certain way, not feeling heard or something like this. I actually wrote out, let me read this to you because I'm going to end it here with you guys because I think this will be really good. So there's some reels I take from my YouTube and there's some reels that I'll do and I actually take the time to write out my own, like, in my head feelings of what I've seen and all that stuff. So hold on. Let me pull it up. Where am I? Reels. Okay. Reels. It's pretty cool. Okay. Okay, so there's this reel. I don't know which one it is, but I'm just going to read you a couple of my reels that you guys will be seeing that will be posted. I'm not too sure which one I mention it in, but I'm going to do this. Okay. So one of the reels is the man in the mother wound. When a man grows up feeling responsible for his mother's emotions, he will then cultivate more stress, guilt, a need for control and validation, and obsessive thinking. within this about, oh, sorry. Let me start over. When a man grows up feeling responsible for his mother's emotions, he will then cultivate more stress, guilt, a need for control and validation. And within this will have obsessive thinking about the things he cannot control, because his whole life has developed a false sense of control since he has taken responsibility for his mother's emotions and not his. The obsessive thinking is his brain and nervous system reacting to trauma or flight mode. To avoid this pain of your mother being seen as unhappy, sad, or overwhelmed, your false sense of control comes out in your adulthood because as a child, you learn to neglect your emotions and needs to be received. And in adulthood, you try to receive this externally, which feels like you're constantly chasing and can lead to choosing women you feel need you, who are emotionally unavailable, or you have such a big amount of empathy that you choose women who aren't the healthiest for you, and you become codependent. So many men, when they experience these relationships, avoid dating altogether to not get hurt, which again becomes a false sense of control, and become hyper interdependent in their dating world, and just chase the need to accomplish and be high achievers so they can control their environment. In order to heal this, a man must focus on healing his inner child and develop the emotional relationship with himself that he never received as a child. Boom. It was actually the first.
That's huge for me. Like, I resonate with that a lot.
Mhm. Yeah, I know. And I know Dawn does too. You see, that's where the obsessive thinking comes. And thank you, God. It was the first reel. I was like, I don't know which one it was. And I literally got it on the first try. I'm so proud of myself. But yeah, so that's where that obsessive thinking comes, is because so every man, every person needs to understand, when we grow up, like even for me, like my mother was probably the best mother I could ever. I'm so blessed to have it. My mother lives with me and my husband, for goodness sake. She's my best friend. My father, total opposite. Highly manipulative, highly narcissistic, abusive, verbally abusive, addicted, alcoholic to alcoholism, gambling, everything. My father, basically just one scenario, my father trained my mind to say I have to do everything that he says that I have to do. That wasn't probably the healthiest, or else he will have a new family to replace me. Like, he told me this. He would have siblings to replace me. And as a child, all you want is love. You want to be seen, you want to be heard, you want to be validated. So if that's not met from one of your parents, what happens is our emotional needs, our trauma responses are always going into overthinking, because as a child, I was always thinking, what do I have to do to impress him? What do I have to do not to get in trouble? What do I have to do to love him? What do I have to do so he doesn't have another family? What do I have to do so he doesn't replace me? So I'm always on hyper flight mode. So I trained myself as a kid to obsessively think, because I was trying to fix my father, make him happy. I was trying to cultivate his emotions. I was trying to control his emotion. And so in my adulthood, until I started to do the work, which all of you guys are doing, I had to unravel all of that and figure out, where did this come from? What is my false sense of control? Because our trauma of overthinking is because we're trying to control something. Overthinking just comes from control, because I don't feel safe here. I need to control something. So when we feel out of control, overthinking comes in, because we're not being able to control things. Because in a healthy nervous system, in a healthy family environment, without that trauma, sometimes we're taught to balance our emotions. We're taught to talk about our emotions, to feel them through, right? And so when we don't have that in our adulthood, we don't know how to do it until someone challenges us to do it, teaches us how to do it, and helps us heal from not being able to do it. Understand? So the false sense of control of what I'm talking about is what makes us overthink. And the only reason is because your emotions were neglected or not received in your childhood. And so now we do it in our adulthood.
I see that, I guess, now thinking back, because like I kind of share a lot of the same story. Like, my mom was great, she did everything she could, aside from being raised by a single mother. But like, my father was very much the same, addicted, narcissistic, mentally abusive, manipulative, and had a physical disability as well, that and because he was always on medication and stuff, like he was always up all night and slept all day, and whenever you needed something from him and you had to wake him up or something, it was always you wake him up and one day he's an explosive and mad and pissed off over nothing because you woke him up, and then the next day it's not that way, and it's always just inconsistent, and you never know what you're going to get, and it just makes you second guess and question all of your decisions and all of your thinking and all of that. So
Because your mind, the way that you're regulating your emotions, the way you're training your brain is literally from the day you're born to the age 7. People say 9, but I think 13, to be honest. I think 13. I've seen it. And that's why. It's because like your brain that's what makes us feel safe now. Even though it's really not safe, when we know on our logical frame it's not safe, it feels comfortable for us because it's familiar. So we go back there in our relationships in our adulthood. I copied and paste that. If you guys want to put that in, copy and paste in your notes, just to really have, I put it in the notes for you if it really resonated from you. That's a script for one of them. And if anybody has to drop off, feel free to do it. Love you guys. Much love to you. But I want to show you this one too, Andy. A man with an emotionally unavailable father, it's called. When a man was raised with an emotionally unavailable father, he ends up being emotionally unavailable to women he is dating, his wife, or his children, unless he has healed this wound. The reason why he becomes emotionally unavailable is because he has unconsciously abandoned his own emotions, or was never fully taught how to have a relationship to his emotions. So now he is triggered by emotions in others by constantly trying to fix emotions or solve emotions in others, Vincent, and avoiding his altogether, where he cannot connect to his woman because he was also denied his emotions and was raised by a father that forced him to deny his own emotions. Then he becomes accustomed to denying his emotions. So in turn, he denies his woman's emotions by trying to fix, solve, avoid, or control them. And most of the time, he does not know he's doing this. It's just because the inner child in him feels alone, not enough, or sometimes annoyed and angry. So he becomes super critical and frustrated because he can't connect with women on a deeper level. So he finds it hard to admit when he is wrong and ends up feeling unsafe in his emotions. In order for this to heal, he must connect with the childhood boy in him to overcome and feeling emotionally safe with his own emotions. Then there's another one I wrote, the man in the father wound too. So some men that come from a father that was manipulative, controlling, or was to his father hold on. Some men that come from a father that was manipulative, controlling, and was, I think I messed up there, and was to his father and his father was being an over-aggressor, may see this and not want to become his father. Many times he will have unresolved issues with his father eternally because his needs were never met as a child. Deep inside, he feels like he is lacking, and he will then project this onto his relationships with women when he falls for the one he loves. He will, in turn, not be present and sometimes take women hold on, I'm getting dizzy reading this. Sometimes takes her for granted. So he checks out from his emotions and dives deep into the work to his personal work, because he reassures himself that the value he provides is in how he provides. The reason being is because the childhood boy in him thinks that the emotions are weakness because he was dominated by a father that showed hyper emotions that were not healthy. And now he escapes in thinking that being over masculine is what will help him have attraction or keep attraction in his relationships with women, which ends up failing. You can also notice that he becomes defensive or angry quickly because he carries a feeling of not being seen and nurtured by his father. So he also always wants more money, more pleasure, more work, and compares himself to other men. And this wound, a man must know that he is supported and turns to building that relationship with his childhood self and focus deep on the things that were lacking in his childhood and give him to himself in his adulthood. So what I've noticed too is, like, when a guy grows up with a very manipulative father, but then sees a mother struggle, his wound will typically come from the mother. Because as a boy, the first thing, priority is protect the mom.
Hmm.
So the mother wound will be more prominent in your world.
Well, I guess I'm jacked up from both sides then, because like my parents divorced when I was really young, and that was because of the fact that my mother never wanted to settle down. She was always the party girl, even after I was born. So they split. And then, you know, of course, in the great state of Pennsylvania, the way they see things, it's like, you know, mother knows best. So she gets custody. I'm raised with her, right? And I almost didn't have any connection to her at all, even though she remarried. My stepfather had some issues of his own, and I was living in a house of alcoholics. So then, you know, I didn't see my dad here and there, but here and there, should I say. And everything was always exactly what you described. It was always like the forceful, over the top, you know, aggressive sort of stuff. And, you know, it's funny because even now, like just the other day, I saw evidence of that very same thing happen again, because my dad detected in me when I went over to his house the other day. He's like, you seem like you're kind of, you know, down and out, you know, a little bit, you know, out of sorts. Anything on your mind? At the time, I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to say anything about what had been going on with Jill and myself. But I guess maybe it was a few days later, my stepmother called me, and she was like, yeah, hey, dad said something was going on, whatever, you know, if you want to talk, I'm always here. I said, yeah, not right now. And then it was like probably 2 days later after that, I said, you know what, I will unload. So I went over there, and as we were talking and I was just expressing the whole chain of events of what was going on, she's there like, yeah, okay, I'm following along. But then there comes dad, and he's like, you know, well, you know, you're the way you are, and that's just because of genetics. You know, there's nothing to say that there's anything wrong with you, and blah, blah, blah. And like he kept going, you know, and just impressing upon me that I am the way I am because I'm the summation of my experiences. And I kind of lost my shit on him for a minute, because I said, you know, just because you're that way and that's been working for you, and now at the age of 74, you are where you are, and you've got your family, you've got your wife, you've got everything else, and that works for you, that's fine. But the reality of it is I've recognized that there are things in me that are flawed, and I don't want to be that way anymore, you know? And so I even told him about being involved in this program, and he was like, who needs that shit? You know, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. So, I mean, you know, it's to the credit of what you're saying, you know, through and through, without a doubt. But I guess even for myself, you know, it's like, yeah, I can recognize all of those factors, and I can look at it and whatever. And I'm sure that it's still a good road to go about how to get from where I am to where I need to be. But yeah, I mean, like everything you talked about was like, you know, getting attacked from both sides, you know, from both the motherly and the fatherly aspect. I mean, in essence, I raised myself because I really didn't have a lot of parental influence, you know. So from the childhood point of view, yeah, there came a lot of self-defensiveness out of that, you know, without a doubt. And I mean, it carried over into my naval career, having to always watch my back against other people who were trying to stick it to you just so they could climb the ladder. You know, even in my marriage, it was the same thing. You know, I always had to take control of things, because there were times when my wife would make what I saw as to be mistakes that would adversely affect us financially or whatever. And then, like, you know, I turned around and just said, okay, cool, got to take control, got to do this. But it all stems from that very root thing that you're talking about.
Exactly. Ooh, powerful stuff.
The
Dan.
funny thing about me is I was totally unemotional available with my last girlfriend, and probably my first wife a little bit, but my daughter and all the daughters I've been involved with through the stepkids, I'm great at raising daughters and being emotionally connected to them, and, you know, empathy and all
Because
that
it's a
with my
different type
daughters.
of love. I'm going to tell you something right now. I already can answer this. Your first romantic relationships are always with your parents. The only difference is you're not intimate, God forbid, right?
Other than my
So
grandparents.
that's why it comes up in your adult room, because it's not it's a different type of love with children. It's like a survival, they depend on me type of love. Like I have to be my best, like you can trust them so much. Your guard goes down with children so much because there's such a pure essence to them, you know? So like it's the adult love. That's why that happens. And Vincent, going back to you, I think it's so important, like this, that even that conversation that you had with your father and just noticing that is really good. This week, Vincent, what I want you to do is just write it out, or however you want to do it. I'm going to try my hardest, guys, because I feel like we really need it. I'm putting together like the Man's Inner Child program. It's like a part program that you can work through your inner child, these things that we're talking about. Such a huge, it's a program I did for myself. Like, this is how I got out of my overthinking, my inner child, all my trauma stuff, and work through my inner child. It's what I did for myself 7 years ago, and I'm putting it into a program. But I want you to do some forgiveness around your father. Like, things like, I want you to think of situations that stick out in your head that when you were young, that are kind of in your head still. And I want you to try to see it, not because you're okaying his behavior, but I want you to try to see it as he just did the best that he could. This is all he knows. And forgiving him through that, and saying, and then looking at it as like, I need to forgive him to let go of this. And like, what expectations, and write down, the next thing is, what expectations did I have from my father growing up? And a lot of these expectations are going to be valid expectations that you should have had when you were a child. Okay. But I want you to look at like, how can I give these now to myself and not resent my father for it anymore? You know, why wasn't he able to give this to me? Because he didn't have love from his mom growing up. So it's just the lineage continues, like, until we heal it. It continues into our children sometimes too, right? Until we heal it. So I want you to do that. And then when you're done, I want you to write out a forgiveness letter. And if you're open to it, I would love to share it, you just to read it to me on our next call, to your father. You don't have to give this to him. You can just save it. You can burn it afterwards, whatever you want to do, but a forgiveness letter for your father that shows compassion, empathy, emotion as much as you can. Okay. Awesome, guys. This was a great call. I'm so happy. Thank you all of you for opening up. We're doing landslides in growth.
Landslides.
Anyways, much love to you guys. I have to go because I'm pregnant and I have to use the restroom. I have to pee again. And it's like driving me crazy. So much love to you guys.
Thank you,
TMI
everyone.
about that.
Thank
Have a
you.
great week. See you tomorrow.
Much love to everybody. See y'all next week.
Bye.
Yep.